going on, YouTube? RDAP Dan here. Happy Monday to everybody. Hope you guys had a good weekend. And we'll give everybody a couple of minutes here to join us. As you can see, we got the CJ cam going on today, where we'll be able to keep an eye on what CJ is doing over there in the background. Give us a wave, CJ. You guys can't hear him, but you can see him, and he can see you. Who do we got in the room? I got to look at the other monitor for that. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about, should you take a 5K1, Rule 35, what's the consequences if you do or you do not, and reason why, and hopefully audio is picking up pretty good. Reason why we're going to do a topic on that is I got a couple of phone calls from people that have spent time in prison that I guess almost slightly upset that I made a video a while back ago. I think we titled the video, Should You Snitch? And 5K1 is considered a snitch card in federal prison. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, see what everybody thinks. I think it's a good topic because not only is it interesting, but it's something that a lot of you may be presented with and you want to know what you're getting yourself possibly into. So we'll give you guys about 30 seconds to a minute to join us. Until then, make sure if you haven't done so, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, go ahead and subscribe. All you got to do is tap on the subscribe button. There's also a little bell at the top of your YouTube channel. It's a notification. Make sure you turn on your notifications. That's the only way you really get notification of when we go live. In addition to texting the word YouTube to 76626, that is the other way that you receive notifications. That is through our text messaging service that we use in addition to YouTube to make sure we're giving you all the opportunity to hang in with us. So while we're doing that, CJ's off in the background. He's monitoring the channel on a separate monitor there. You can only see the RDAP Dan screen in the back, but you can't see the YouTube monitor. And he's going to be answering some client questions as we go, and also letting me know of any questions that I don't see because my other monitor is way over there and I'm trying to stare at it. So what is a 5K1? What is a Rule 35? A lot of you, if you're facing a federal prison sentence or you're looking at the possibility of going to federal prison, your attorney may have offered you or told you that, hey, if you cooperate, we can possibly qualify for a 5K1, which can give you downward departure. Basically, it can reduce your guidelines, the level. Like, let's say you're, on your base offense level, let's say you're level 32 right now. You're going to have all kinds of things like acceptance of responsibility. If you do get a 5K1, it will drop it even more, which puts your guideline range at a lower position, meaning you potentially would fall into a lower guideline on what you're going to get sentenced to. So it equals a shorter sentence. A Rule 35 also helps out. What's going on, Junior? Welcome, welcome. A Rule 35, that usually takes place if you're able to give the government information on additional people that they already don't know about. You're able to bring them additional cases. A lot of times a Rule 35 will happen while you're in prison. You usually don't see the benefits from a Rule 35 right away because they have to usually get a conviction on somebody before the Rule 35 will kick in. Now, a lot of you guys that are facing, white collar type crimes, you're going to be looking at 5K1s. If you're going to be going to a camp or possibly a low security prison, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal if you decide to take a 5K1 or Rule 35, meaning a lot of people in the low security prisons, a lot of people have them there, but more importantly, nobody wants to cause any grief or any violence in that type of a prison environment, because if you do, it's very easy to get removed and moved to a higher security. How rude of me to take a yawn. It's been a long day. But if you're not sure about your prison custody or where you're going, maybe you're going to go to a medium, maybe you're looking at a pen. A 5K1, a Rule 35, any type of substantial cooperation can create potential problems for you. You really want to make sure you know what you're doing. And a lot of the times, your attorney is not going to tell you that if you have a 5K1 or Rule 35, that this could be dangerous for you. If you get to a high security prison, a medium or a pen, right away, They're going to ask you for your paperwork, meaning your PSR, your judgment of committal. They're going to ask you for something showing this information, showing whether or not you cooperated, showing whether or not you have a sex offense charge. They want to know these things because people in higher security prisons want to know who they're going to be spending time with. So if you're going to a higher security prison and you have, or you're thinking about doing a 5K1, just realize if you have a 5K1 in a higher security prison, you're likely not going to be able to walk the yard. You're not going to be able to sit at certain tables. You'll probably not be able to watch any type of TV. It can make your prison sentence a lot more stressful because you're enduring additional consequences on top of being in prison. Now you're in prison and you can't go anywhere. You can't really talk to anybody, and it can make for a very lengthy prison sentence. So let's talk about a camp or a low. You're in a camp or a low, and you're thinking about taking a 5K1. Now, who are you going to be telling on? Who are you going to be cooperating against? Are these going to be friends of yours? Are this going to be family members? Maybe you're going to a camp. You don't have to worry about security issues at a camp, but the information you're going to be giving the feds, is this going to be information that whoever you're possibly telling on, is this going to put you in danger or your family in danger on the outside? Are you involved in some type of drug conspiracy? And there's maybe some big key players that you know names of, and you're giving these names up. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to tell you to cooperate or not to cooperate. I'm here to tell you need to focus on consequences, good or bad. What's the pros and the cons? You have to weigh out the pros and the cons. Typically, cooperating will result in a shorter sentence. If you're going to a camp or a low and you're cooperating and there's not going to be any fallback or backlash on you, your friends, or your family, then maybe a 5K1 or Rule 35 is for you. Getting out of prison sooner, no one, people, you'll hear all kinds of people saying they would never tell, they would never snitch. There might be some true hardcore gangsters out there that really wouldn't do those type of things, but at the end of the day, a lot of the people that say that, they never had the opportunity. They were in a position where there was nobody to tell on, or there was nothing. They didn't have that opportunity. Maybe they were the target. Maybe the feds were after them and they didn't want anything beyond them. So it's easy to say you would never do it when it's never offered to you, when it's never propositioned to you. So don't worry about that. It's not the end of the world, but if you are going to a higher security prison, there's been a lot of beatings. There's been a lot of deaths over, they look at 5K1s and telling on people. They look at snitches the same level, if not higher, than a child pedophile or a sex offender. So if you have a snitch card and you're going to a higher security prison and you think they're not going to find out, they absolutely will. There are companies out there that will that will give you forged paperwork to make it look like you don't, but these guys are pretty resourceful. They have ways of finding out whether or not you have paperwork or not. And I've heard horror stories. I've read horror stories online. Everybody knows. If you don't know my situation, I wear it like a badge. I'm not ashamed of anything that I've had to do. I did have a 5K1. It was not explained to me what a 5K1 meant. My attorney just said by you cooperating, they're going to offer you a 5K1. And cooperation in my case was not in the essence of we had to go out and tell on people. It was just we agreed to say what we did wrong. Everybody on my case, except for the one doctor, and he was offered a 5K1, but he wanted to go to trial. He wasn't willing to take a plea. He didn't want to lose his DEA license. So he wasn't willing to take a plea. But we didn't have to tell on him. They already had him. There wasn't anything to say other than we knew what we were doing was wrong. We knew that the doctor's office that was open was for illegitimate purposes. So I didn't have to go. He did it. I had to say I knew what I was doing was wrong. I knew that the doctor's office that we had open was for illegitimate purposes. I knew that we were prescribing pain medication without a legitimate purpose. That was what I had to make statements of in order to qualify or to be granted and offered a 5K1. So, however, regardless of what I did or didn't do, if I would have went to a medium or a pen, I would have been up Schitt's Creek. I would have had to check into the shoe. I probably would have been beaten. Who knows? I might have been raped. Who knows what would have happened if I would have gone to a higher security prison? These are not things that my attorney had explained to me. So if you're not sure, hey, what's going on, Jay? If you are not sure what your custody level is. Now remember, your custody level is different from your base offense level and your criminal history. Your custody level is what determines what prison you fall at, and it takes into consideration your base offense level, your criminal history, the type of crime. DUIs from your past can come back to haunt you. DUIs can jack up your criminal history points, which we've seen people land in a medium or pen thinking they're not going to have any issue. And then they get designated to a higher security prison because of things like DUIs in your background. So you really need to know what you're getting yourself into. I don't know if attorneys don't know how dangerous it can be for somebody to go to a higher security prison with a 5K1 or a Rule 35. I imagine if they knew you were going to a medium, but yet they want you to take a 5K1 in order to take the plea agreement. And if you knew, well, shit, if I have a 5K1 and I'm going to a medium, I don't want to go get beat up every day. I'd rather serve a little extra time and be able to relax and do things without looking over my shoulder every 25 minutes. They may not tell you that because they're afraid you're not going to cooperate. And we already know in most cases, nobody wants to go to trial. We already know that. We already know that most attorneys do not want to go to trial. They'll tell you the best song and dance up front. If you're hiring an attorney, they're going to tell you all of these things. We're going to be prepared if we're going to go to trial. But when it gets down to it, they are going to discourage you from going to trial. Very rarely do we see an attorney saying, I want to go to trial. 99% of the time, what we'll hear an attorney say is, well, we can go to trial if you want, but I don't think you should. This plea is a pretty good plea. Or they've got a lot of evidence against you, which they probably do. And it's very unlikely to see somebody win at trial unless you're completely innocent. You can prove it without a reasonable doubt. You've got all kinds of witnesses collaborating your story, but for most of us, we get caught up in something like a conspiracy or a white-collar crime or a drug crime, whether it be distribution or possession. We see all types of different situations where at some point your hand is identified in the cookie jar, and it's going to be really hard for you to go, well, I want to fight this. We've got a couple clients right now that are going to trial. And the difference is in them going to trial and the average person going to trial is, like, let's take my situation for an example. Can always use myself as an example because it's a good one. My base offense level was a 37. I don't remember off the top of my head what the guidelines are on that. But with a base offense level of a 37, if I were to lose at trial, if I went to trial and lost, I would have been looking at roughly around 20 years or so. That's what I would have been looking at if I lost, or that's what I could have been looking at if I lost. The plea deal that was offered to me was a cap of 60 months. I still had a base offense level of 37. That was after downward departures, 5K1s. I still had a 37 after all of that because of the quantity of prescription pills that the doctor had written prescriptions for. All of those quantities fell back on everybody in the conspiracy. So the plea agreement that I signed capped my sentencing at 60 months, which means no matter what, the judge was not able to sentence me more than 60 months. So I had basically a safety net of 60 months. My guideline was 0 to 60 months under that plea agreement. So of course my hopes were, okay, I was pretty much telling myself I'm going to get probation, even though I really didn't do anything to work for it. I didn't do any of the things that we coach a lot of you to do because I just didn't know about a lot of that. I think that if I had done more preparation, like put more effort into my personal narrative, put more effort into my character reference letters, understood what the PSR was all about, was more prepared for the pre-sentence interview, I really do feel like I would have had a much better shot at receiving something like probation or a much shorter sentence. Not to say my sentence was horrible. I received 42 months out of the 60 that I could have received. And thanks to good things like Halfway House and RDAP and Good Time, I only served 13. So it all worked out to my benefit somewhat in the end, but it could have gone a different way very easily. I didn't put any effort in as far as I didn't do any community service. I didn't go out and build a mentor group. I wasn't going to meetings. I had done nothing to show the judge that I had made attempts to change my life other than go to work every day, which the average person, first-time offender, white-collar criminal, blue-collar criminal, first-time offender, typically when you're out on pretrial, the average person goes to work every day. So that's nothing special. There's a lot more that those of you that are going through this situation that you can actually be focusing on. And that's part of what we do with our team, with CJ and Jenny and Alex and Andrew and Shelly. Part of what we do is create an environment for you on what you should be doing with your day-to-day to create a different outlook and a different personality. So when you arrive in that courtroom, you can have several months of actual preparation, action-based preparation, not just some words on a piece of paper, showing the judge how you've severed the situation you were in and moved on from it, showing that you've created new habits. This is what we see make a difference. You guys see him in the room all the time, Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos was looking at a decent amount of time, and he's been a client of ours for several months, close to a year. He had, how many community hours did he say he had logged? Was it 400? 400. He had over 400 community service hours logged, and he received 1 day. They gave him a sentence of 1 day in prison with, I think, 5 years of probation, basically, 60 months of supervised release. So he received a 1 day sentence, and it wasn't by luck. He put in a lot of work, a lot of effort. He had amazing letters. He had an amazing track record with his mentor group, showing the acts of somebody that is making the actual consciousness decisions to make change in their life. And that's what can make a difference for so many of you. So it's real important to take that serious. If you're not sure what you need to do to put yourself in the best possible situation for the shortest amount of time in prison and possibly picking the prison you want to go to, I'm telling you, my phone number is on the screen for a reason. Please use it. You can call, email me. My email is rdapdan@gmail.com. I forgot that's not on the screen anymore. I have to fix that. But my phone number is right there, 509-434-4695. CJ, Jenny, they're really good at helping me get back to you guys ASAP. We've got an amazing new CRM that we've built that tracks everything that you guys are doing, where you're at, what were special dates, upcoming court dates, sentencing, where you're at in the program right now. So we're able to really zone in on what it is that you need to focus on. We're able to basically take your personality traits and create an atmosphere for you that is going to present you with the best possible chances for the best possible outcome. But it starts with you putting in the work and the effort. These 5K1s and Rule 35s, don't be afraid of them. Embrace it if you need to. Use it if you need to. Just understand what the possible consequences might be from that. Who are you cooperating against? What backlash could come from that? Is it just going to be they're going to be upset at you? Or is it going to be they're going to come to your house and shoot up your family? You know, those are two different reasons to do it or not do it. I can tell you right now, if cooperating... I had to approve it. CJ, I gotta add you in there, CJ, so you don't need my approval when you write stuff. So there's big, like if somebody would have told me, hey, if you cooperate and you say something against anybody, we're going to come to your house and kidnap your children. I'm not going to cooperate. It's that simple. But it wasn't that type of cooperation. I do come across clients that literally have that type of a fork in the road. If they want to cooperate, their family is in danger. And they're still thinking about it. That tells you how bad somebody does not want to possibly go to federal prison. So it's real important that you focus on these consequences. And the best thing you can do is learn enough about your own situation, which we encourage you to do. We help you do. We give you information. We present you with questions to bring to your attorney. Because if you're not holding your attorney accountable, not to say your attorney is not doing his or her job, but if you're not holding them accountable, it probably means you don't know how to hold them accountable. So usually what happens is we see later on in life, you get sentenced, you're sitting in prison. Now you're starting to find out all of these things, how things really work, what your attorney should have done differently. And you get upset and you want to go file a 2255 for like ineffective counsel, saying my attorney didn't do their job. So you're going to go file a 2255 trying to get it back in front of a judge. The problem is almost everybody and their mother is trying to file a 2255 for ineffective counsel. So there's stacks and stacks of papers that go to these appellate courts trying to get this brought back up, and they're almost always dismissed because they're just so used to seeing them. So don't fall victim to that. Don't allow it to get to that point where you're coming back after the fact. Hold your attorney accountable now before you've signed your life away to a plea that you may not be happy with later on. because the chances are you're going to do all of these things later and not any benefit's going to come from it. If you're sentenced and you're getting ready to go to prison, it's time to swallow that, come to terms with that, and start focusing on the things you do have control over, like making sure that you have the opportunity to qualify for RDAP, the Residential Drug Addiction Program. I get people asking me all the time, does my crime have to be drug related to qualify for RDAP? No, you do not have to have a drug crime to get into RDAP. You just have to have substance abuse in your history based on specific date frames, which we can talk about if you want to give me a call. But it can be drugs, it can be alcohol, it can be prescription pills, it can be a prescription you're supposed to be taking. Maybe the doctor prescribed you pain medication and you're taking it like you're supposed to, but you feel like you're addicted to it. That can be grounds for qualifying for the Residential Drug Addiction Program. You don't have to have, when they say verifiable substance abuse, it needs to be verifiable in your pre-sentence report. It needs to be identified in your pre-sentence report. It doesn't need to be verifiable from like a DUI or drug treatment that you've done in the past. That's not what they're referring to. So that's why if you're not sure or think you know the answers or you're just kind of a little bit cloudy on it, give me a call, shoot me an email, rdapdan@gmail.com, 509-434-4695, and we can kind of go over and explain to you what it is you may or may not qualify for. There's a lot of factors that would qualify you for RDAP, and there's also a lot of factors that would disqualify you from RDAP, and sometimes the ones that will disqualify you can be overcame and fixed if you do the proper steps early on and not wait till the last minute. The worst thing you can do, which is one of the biggest things that people do, is they stick their head in the sand because they're so overwhelmed with everything that's going on in their life, with the fact that they might be facing a federal prison sentence. Their head is buried in the sand and they're not doing anything proactive. Nothing. No productivity is coming out of them. They're not doing anything action-based. They're just sitting by and waiting for their attorney to call them and tell them what's next. That is not focusing on your situation. That's ignoring your situation. So do the things that are uncomfortable. We talk about it all the time. Take yourself out of your comfort zone and every day do something. Spend an hour a day working on your case. What is working on your case? That doesn't mean you need to go out and learn law. That means you need to learn what you can be doing in addition to what your attorney's doing. And those are a lot of the things that a really good prison consultant should be working with you on. A prison consultant should not only tell you what you need to do to qualify for RDAP. A prison consultant should be a combination of consulting on things you don't know and coaching on what you can be doing to exercise your mind properly to keep that focus and that momentum going. Because there's going to be plenty of dark days that if you don't have that person in your corner that's going to tell you exactly what you need to hear at the right moment, you're going to allow yourself to get stuck in that corner and it becomes a dark, dwelling atmosphere that creates nothing but sadness and sorrow. So if you don't want to get stuck in that situation, do the right thing, pick up the phone and give us a call and let us see how we might be able to help you help yourself. Sounds so simple. But yet, no one's calling. I would think the phone would be lit up right now. Oh, Jay's texting me. Let's see what Jay's saying. Jay's in the room right now. Jay, congrats. Jay, we got to have you on as a success story. We've already had Jay come on. He's in the room. I don't know if he's still here. I think he is. Jay Hoogie. He's a client that received probation. He was one of our clients that was not supposed to get probation. We've got an interview with him already. Jay, feel free to go ahead and type out your story in there if you want. But Jay was not supposed to receive probation. Jay's prosecutor was hell-bent on giving him, I think it was 40-something months. Jay's attorney said, don't even think about probation. But Jay didn't listen to them. Jay listened to me instead. And we busted our asses between letters, community service, mentor groups, going to meetings. Jay did this for months and months and months and months. And at sentencing, the judge said, I cannot give this guy a prison sentence when he has done so much to turn his life around, not just in these words that he's saying, but the actual action-based productivity that he's put into his circumstances over the last several months shows a different person than committed these crimes. And the fact that he's getting the help that he needs for his substance abuse, to me, shows that he's getting more help now than he would probably get in the prison system. And he was given 6 months ankle monitor and 5 years federal probation, federal probation. And now Jay just sent me a text. He now owns his own food truck and he started his own business. He's doing the entrepreneur thing. He's making money as a convicted felon. So Jay's all-in-one success story. It's not just how to beat your prison sentence and get off. It's also how he took his negative circumstances, started doing, he probably wouldn't be doing what he's doing today if he hadn't been faced with federal prison. Once he was faced with federal prison, that's when he really took the reality of his actions and his behaviors and how it led him to that point in his life where it was dark, looking at going to prison, and he started making necessary changes to put pieces together to create this masterpiece to where he is right now. Is he making $1 million? Probably not. But is he doing anything that's going to send him back to prison? Nope. He's running a legitimate business. He's got a food truck, and he's free. He's free to do what he wants. He's still on probation, so he still has probation to deal with. But he is an absolute success story. And so many of you have the opportunity to do exactly what Jay did, but yet you're hesitant. You're like, oh, I don't want to spend any money. I don't want to hire a prison consultant. I've already spent enough money on my attorney. If that's your mindset, then go enjoy your vacation at Club Fed, because it's not going to be the worst thing ever. So if you're okay with going to prison and you don't want to try as hard as you can to not go to prison, I'm not going to twist your arm to tell you that you should use our services. But people like Jay and Juan Carlos and Will Townsend and a couple of the ladies that you've seen come on our show, these people that have received probation, it was not by chance and it was not by luck. It was by hard work and dedication, combination of dealing with our team, taking the guidance that we provided, taking the roadmap to success, and then running with it and making us proud. I feel like a proud daddy right now. Congratulations, Jay. That's amazing. You got your own food truck. Papa Dan here. I'm trying to read over here to read some messages. We got Mike Winters in the room. Mike Winters is another client. Welcome, Mike. Mike's going through all kinds of crazy stuff. They indicted him, and then we helped him with some stuff, with some letters, gave him some ideas to ask his attorney. They dropped the case. They're bringing it back up again. He's got the same judge, so it's very likely that it'll probably be dismissed again. But this is a case of somebody that's probably going to be dismissed. We had another client, another guy named John, same situation. He was indicted. We provided him with a roadmap. He gave him some bulletproof questions to bring to his attorney to put into motion. And the feds dropped the case on that as well. And charges were never brought back up. That's another person that was able to avoid a felony, get his job back as a flight attendant. So these are some amazing feats that people are able to conquer, especially in an industry where we hear nothing but negative. 99% of people get indicted, It's because everybody does the same thing. Everybody sits there with their head buried. Nobody works. Everybody just goes through the motion. Their attorneys walk them through the same steps they walk their other 10,000 clients through with the same outcome. Prison time, prison time, prison time, prison time. The judge is used to seeing the same letter over and over again. The judge is used to seeing the same person in court. Please, Your Honor, I'm sorry for what I did. Give me a second chance. This is going to be really hard on my kids, my sick mother, my dying dog. All of these sappy sorrow stories that the judge does not give two shits about because he's heard that same story 6 million times. He does not believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe that you guys, when you tell me you don't want to go to prison because of your kids, I don't believe you because you're fucking lying. If that was the truth, you wouldn't have done what you did. Just like I wasn't thinking about my kids. My kids weren't my biggest concern. If they were, I wouldn't have done what I did. That doesn't mean you can't change and you can't change who you are, but it starts with taking responsibility and owning up and doing more than just some simple bullshit words. I'm sorry and I won't do it again. If it were that easy, nobody would ever go to prison. So yesterday, I think it was yesterday, somebody called me and I missed the number. I called it back and it was a gentleman, nice guy. And he was just like, I just want to tell you, I was watching your videos and yeah, you should never snitch. I was like, okay, that's one person's opinion. He's like, yeah, it's just never. I would never snitch. I went to prison. I wouldn't snitch. I was like, hey, I get it. I can respect that. I was like, but you can't tell that to somebody else. And then getting a little bit more into the conversation, of course, we find out that he was never offered the ability to snitch. And then he said he was, but he didn't take it. And then he said, well, I never had it. They never offered that to me. So my take on that was he never had the opportunity to have a 5K1. And he had a minimum mandatory, so there was really no getting around it. What it is I really feel like nobody likes to see anybody get any. Just like when I was in RDAP, my co-defendant who I was in prison with went to the RDAP coordinator and tried to get me kicked out of RDAP. This was somebody that I thought was kind of my friend. Went to the RDAP coordinator and tried saying Dan's not a real drug addict. He just said what he had to say to get into RDAP. And the RDAP coordinator called me in the office and told me this. Said, hey, be careful of who you hang out with because this guy Sean is out to get you. I was like, what do you mean? And she told me that and I couldn't believe it. Of course, he denied it and said he never said it, but why the fuck would the RDAP coordinator make that up? She said, don't worry about it. It's in your pre-sentence report, so I'm not concerned, but just be careful. This guy may try to cause problems for you in other areas. Well, shortly after that, RDAP Dan flexed his muscles and Sean got booted to another prison. No, I didn't really flex my muscles. I don't know why he got booted to another prison, but it was nice to see him go. And he was honestly a nice guy. He was a funny guy. He just wasn't ready to take responsibility. He lied to everybody. Didn't want anybody to know he had a 5K1, even though he did. He was always wanted to hang out with the cool guys on the compound, the guys that were like, ex-gangsters, mob bosses that had been locked up. And, this guy, he was such a 5K1er that he was trying to do Rule 35s. He was trying to get information on other people that were still on the street. Well, he had a 40-month sentence. He was calling feds and his attorney saying, I know about somebody else doing something illegal. If I tell on them, can I get more time off? This guy was just a hater that I was in RDAP getting time off and he wasn't because he wasn't better prepared. So guys, it is what it is. Nobody can make me serve a minute more in prison than I have to. And that's why I tell people now, if you're doing some stuff that you shouldn't be doing, if you're engaged in criminal activity, if you're even a shady character and you come around me and the cops come knocking on my door, I'm going to tell them where you are. I'm going to tell them what you look like. I'm going to tell them what you drive. I'm going to tell them your full name. I'm going to give them a sketch. This is what he looks like. Everything I can give them because I don't want any trouble. So don't bring nonsense around. And that's the mindset you need when you get out of prison. People, places, and things. If you're not willing to change those, you're involving yourself in potential criminal activity later on in life. Got to avoid it. I went so long without a driver's license. When I got out of prison, I had no driver's license. I literally just got my driver's license back when I went to Florida. I couldn't drive. I had to take public transit for a very long time. Now, I could have driven. I could have gotten in a car very easily and drove and probably not even gotten in trouble once or twice. Who knows? But I would have got comfortable doing that. It would have felt like I'm allowed to do it. Before I knew it, something stupid would have happened. I could have got pulled over, an out tail light, anything, and boom. Not only am I going to get additional tickets, that much harder to get my license back, now potentially I could violate my probation and go back to prison. So making the hard choice sometimes in the end is the easy choice. And hard choices get easier and easier and easier if you keep making them. So make that hard choice. Do what's uncomfortable. Do the things that you know you should, that you've been putting off and you haven't wanted to do them. It's so easy to say, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow. I'm going to work on my case tomorrow. I'm going to call that person back tomorrow. This is the ultimate lazy bug that attacks people, that prevents them from being successful, prevents them from doing what they need to do in a situation like yours, prevents them from weight loss, prevents them from getting a better job. That lazy bug on saying I'm going to be content with not doing anything, but lying to myself to make myself feel better and say I'm going to do it tomorrow. Because it feels better for a second, because for a second, maybe you really believe you're going to do it tomorrow, but you never have done it tomorrow, so why would you do it tomorrow? It's simple. This book right here, if you haven't read this book yet, Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within, it's all about pain versus pleasure. And not pain of like getting punched in the face. Pain of making good choices versus bad choices, and short-term pain versus long-term pleasure, and vice versa. If you don't read this book, I can't help you. But if you do read this book, I promise, if you're in a dark area right now in your life and you pick up this book and you read it, you'll absolutely feel like it's talking to you. It's 500 pages long, but it is a book you can literally read 15 to 20 pages at a time and get so much positive information on what you can actually do to change your life just by reading this book. We got all kinds of notes in here that we've made, pages with notes all over them. When I got to prison, I started reading this book. My friend's mom sent it to me. I immediately had one of these sent to Shelly while she was in prison as well, because I saw the way it affected my life, and this completely prepared me for RDAP. Completely prepared me for RDAP to the point where this book is everywhere I go now. I bring it everywhere. I mean, not literally, but anywhere I'm more or less, like an office or my house, that book is there with me. I'm gonna read some messages now.
Roddy had a question.
Roddy, how did you end up doing time with your... Because, so he's asking me how I ended up doing time with my co-defendant. You can do time with your co-defendant if you don't have what's called a separatee. We didn't tell on each other. That's what was different about my case, is even though we all had 5K1s, we didn't have to tell on each other. We just had to say that we knew what each one of us were doing. Like I had to say I knew what I was doing. I knew that I worked at a doctor's office that was open for illegit purposes. I didn't have to say he did this, he did that, he's the culprit. I didn't have to point anybody out. So it wasn't that type of cooperation. But I still had that same 5K1 piece of paper, which, yes, it gave me the time off, but if I would have went to a serious prison, they would not have cared about any of, well, what did you do to get a 5K1? They wouldn't have cared. They would just saw 5K1 equals punch in the face, or shank to the gut, or private to the back end of a person, rape. All that kind of crazy stuff happens in serious prisons. I wouldn't have been eating at the table. I wouldn't have been able to watch TV. I wouldn't have been able to go out in the yard and exercise. It would have been a very long prison sentence. So hope that answers your question, Roddy. You can go to prison with your co-defendants. I was in there with my co-defendant, Shelly. She was in there with two of our co-defendants. There was three of the women went to prison. Shelly and two of our co-defendants, they also went to prison. I had other male co-defendants, but they went to camps and stuff like that. I don't even know why Sean was at a low, to be honest. I don't know. I got to look Sean up. Maybe he's got some other charges. I should have been to a camp, but I had open charges that were not properly disposed yet. So I had to go to a low because my charges were still technically open. That almost stopped me from getting into RDAP. There's all kinds of moving pieces, guys, that if you don't know what you're getting yourself into, you may think you qualify for RDAP, but there may be another reason why you don't. You may think that you're going to go to a camp, and there might be another reason. Now, and a lot of the times, those can be fixed if you catch them early enough. It can be situated, and you may still be able to go to the places and get the programs that you want to. Don't just assume that you're going to get it because you got a 24-month sentence, and you think, oh, 24 months, 6 months off for RDAP, I'm good. Don't just assume you're going to get it. Do not lay down and roll over and go to sleep yet. Do not stop until you're in the program. Do not rest. Don't lower your guard. Stay alert, because the minute you get complacent, that's when that rug gets yanked out from underneath you and you're flat on your face and you're going, oh, why me? Because you didn't fucking do anything to prevent it. That's why you. Probably because you deserved it. If you're getting a lot of bad stuff coming your way right now, there's a good chance that you might deserve it. RDAP Dan's here to beat you up today. All right, guys, anybody else got any other desiring questions that you would like me to answer? As I told you, we're also working on a possible TV show documentary that we might be a part of. So we're out filming some of that the other day. You guys got to see a minute of it. We did a live video from the car while we were actually going to a location. I apologize for the audio on that video. I'm not sure if it was just a bad feed or CJ had his hand over the microphone by accident. We don't know. But it's no, CJ. Got to blame the new guy. It's the only way we can do it. I've known CJ for how many years? 30?
Since 88?
Since 88. I've known him since 1988. He was my first best friend growing up as a little kid. And when's the last time we saw each other before now?
2001, 2002?
So it's been a minute since we've seen each other. Now here he is in Spokane. And between him and Jenny, if I had two right hands, him and Jenny would split the hand down the middle. Or they'd each get one. But right now it's like Ches gets this half of the right, or CJ gets this half of the right hand, and Jenny gets this half of the right hand. So
of course she gets the thumb.
Jenny gets the half with the thumb, so she gets the disposable thumb. Deposable. Robert, hey Mr. Dan, what's going on? Yes, I did throw CJ under the bus, Jenny. Jenny got me yesterday. She calls me up because, she calls me. She's like, hey, Dan. Oh, no. She goes, hey, boss. Do you got a minute? I'm like, sure. She's like, I hope you're not going to be mad. And I'm out. I'm detailing my car at this point. I'm thinking, oh God, what happened? She's like, somehow I went into the CRM. The CRM is the client relationship manager that we use to basically, it holds all of our contacts, all of you guys that are contacts, clients, has all of your information in there, and it took us a long time to get it to where it is. She's like, I accidentally deleted all of the contacts. I'm like, what do you mean you accidentally deleted all of the contacts? That's not even a possible thing to do. She's like, are you really upset? And I'm like, you know what? Let me call you back in like 20 minutes. I'm trying to keep my calm, right? Trying to keep my calm. I think she senses it in my voice. And she's like, April Fools. It's like, fuck, you got me. I fucking forgot it was April Fools. So you got me. You got me, Jenny. You got me. I will get you back. Trust me. I'm going to get you back good. I might get your son in on it. That way you'll never see it coming. Until now, because I just told you. But that's how good I am. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, and you still won't see it coming. Boy, Robert just pointed out a really good point. 16 people watching and only 6 thumbs up. Guys, the best thing you can ever do, I got 8. The best thing you can do in addition to donating, for any of you that want to donate, you know I hate being that peddler on the corner with the sign, but I'm going to hold my sign up right now. We've got a lot of guys going into the new year that need a lot of things in prison. These are guys that are already in there that are going without, that could use hygiene products, that could use some warmer clothes, that could use maybe a couple cups of soup, a can of coffee, different things that your donations are able to help. And for those of you that are like, how do I donate? I'm going to put the CJ cam on the donation real quick. Let's move it over here. So you see right down there, right underneath where you type, there's a little money symbol. You can click right on that little money symbol and you can send a donation. It can be a $1 donation or it can be a $1 million donation. Every little bit helps. Oh, got to fix the CJ cam here. There we go. Every little bit helps, guys. And, you know, a couple of bucks goes a long way to somebody sitting inside. Somebody that's got nothing. It can be how they buy stamps. It can be how they buy some hygiene products. Just different things. And when you're inside prison and you don't have those basic things, it can be a real rough situation. So if anybody wants to donate, please, now is the time to do so. We'll give you all a moment of silence. Pass the hat. Is that what they do? What is it called? Collection plate. We're going to pass the collection plate. We're going to pass the hat. Passing the bowl around. Who's got it right now? Mike, you got the... No, Mike's put enough in the bowl. Mike donates every time. Don't donate, Mike. Mike's like super donator. But come on. Who do we got in there? Carrie Ann. I'm not sure what your... Never got the information to pay y'all. What information were you looking for, Carrie? I apologize. Ooh, my screen froze. All that money coming in must have froze me. Is it froze on your side?
Well, the screen's a little behind. So, just waiting for it to catch up.
If you guys can hear me, can I get a... Type the number 1. Mike, I told you not to donate. Mike had to go donate. I guess that works. If I tell people don't donate, they donate. Nobody donate. Thank you, Mike. High five to Mike Winters. It's amazing. Mike, you know that goes a long way. We talk about it all the time. So Sean Cowgill actually is back up. So Carrie, I apologize. If you can shoot me a text as soon as we hang up, I'll get it squared away for you. I apologize. 509-434-4695. Or shoot me a text right now. And then when I get off here, I'll make sure that we take care of it. But thank you, Mike. That was awesome. Looks like everybody can hear me. But my screen, it's just my screen. I can see over on CJ still going. But mine froze. Don't know what happened. It's all right. We'll live with it. So we'll give you guys another couple of minutes. If anybody else wants to donate, feel free. Come on, Jay. Throw some of that food truck money down. I know. Throw down the price of a hot hoagie. We're going to call you Jay Hoagie. I'm hungry now. I'm thinking about food truck. Food truck's got the best food. Am I the only one that thinks that? What do you think about food trucks, CJ?
Food trucks are the best.
Yeah.
Food trucks, mom and pop restaurants.
There we go. Yeah. Nothing like a good greasy food truck. Roddy, everybody can hear me. Okay. How do we donate? I don't see the money sign. Roddy, are you on your phone or are you on a computer? And I can actually hear. I'll give you guys another way to donate too, if that way is a little bit difficult. Give me 1 second here. I'll pull it up. Here you go, Roddy. Here's another way that might be a little easier for you. Yeah, Carrie, text me. Let me see if you already texted me. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. But that's a donation that we use for PayPal. That's so you can use that as well. For those of you that don't want to click on the money sign, you can click on that little PayPal link that I just threw in the description of the video, and that will bring you to the RDAP Dan Donation Center. We're beggars today. I just received a lot of emails from guys over the last, I don't know, we got a lot of emails, over the last, basically like, usually during holidays is when we get a lot of the sad emails. People are really feeling extra rough on the holidays. We just found out that Coleman, Robert, thank you, my man. Appreciate it. Oops, somebody. So we got a $5 donation. All right, $25 in donations. That's more than we made all week. Now we're gonna go get beers now. Where do you want to go get beers on Mike and Rod and Rob's? No beers? No. See, I think CJ thinks that's a bad idea.
Only if we can throw them over the fence to the guys who need it.
There we go. Oh, we're cutting CJ's head off here. What happened? Damn CJ Cam. Good enough. Good enough. Yeah, there's my number. So feel free to text me, guys. I appreciate everything that you guys do. And of course, I'm just sitting here teasing you guys and razzing you. I know a lot of you are in super financial tight situations right now where you probably need donations. So I do appreciate everything that you guys do to try to help those that are struggling, that are going through this. And Jenny and CJ, remind me, we need to get Alex and Andrew to update the website to where we can put the inmates that we're sponsoring on the website, like Sean Cowgill and some other guys, so people can see where their actual money, who the money is going to help. We'll show you some pictures of them, some pictures of their family. We did get a picture. Somebody got their RDAP Dan wristband. I don't remember what day that was. She sent us a picture of her wearing it. Oh, CJ's going to the magical board of where everything gets remembered. There he is. He's hiding behind the light. So instead of the pet cam, because we can't have a pet cam at work because I'm not allowed to have any pets in the office, which is quite a bummer. But CJ's like a pet. No, he's not. I'm sorry, that's horrible. That's all I got for you guys today. We're going to keep it a little bit light today. Before I forget, Coleman. I don't know if this is happening at all prisons, but Coleman Federal Prison has changed the way their book system works. You can no longer mail books, or even from Amazon or from publishers. All of Coleman's books now, if you have a loved one at Coleman, and I heard this is happening with other prisons as well, the inmates now have to purchase books off commissary for quite a markup. I'm hearing as high as 30% markups on these books. That's pretty serious. It's pretty shitty. I don't like to sit here and beat up on the BOP, but there's no reason for that. Books is one of the only things that keeps people's minds stimulated and focused on the positive things that they can be working on. And to take that away from a lot of people, to make them use their commissary, which means they're going to have to get less of something else. They're going to have to get less food, less hygiene, less warm clothes in order to buy their books, where before a book would come from, Amazon and didn't affect commissaries, just came in mail. So I don't know why they're doing that. I think it's a real bad idea. and we're waiting to get clarification if they're going to be doing this all across the board, or if Coleman is something that they decided to do on their own, like an in-house decision, which to me is asinine. It's like they want to make extra money on inmates by making them purchase books. Appreciate it, Roddy. We've got another $2 donation. Maybe I should just leave this thing on. We'll just put up a mannequin in the background, and you guys will just think I'm here. Give me money. Give me money. Anybody else? Any questions anybody has before we sign off here? I'm starving. I got to eat dinner, and I'm going to meet a friend. You guys know him, Aaron. He's been on the show before from felon to firefighter. I'm actually going to go see him and hang out with him for a couple hours tonight. Haven't seen him in a long time. Met Aaron in the Federal Halfway House. So that will be fun. I'm checking questions before I roll out of here. Oliver is you see what he said about Oliver? Mm-hmm. It's very true. Carrie Ann, you cannot send books to Coleman. I don't know about other places, but Coleman, you can no longer send books. And Carrie Ann said she texted me. Let's see. Carrie Ann, there's no text from you. 509-434-4695. It's the same number that's on the screen, unless it just didn't come through yet. But there's no text from you as of yet. You can also email me, rdapdan@gmail.com.
Your email's in the chat window, too.
Oh, up higher, yeah. So, Carrie, try to text me again, 509-434-4695. Oh, wait. Oh, that's not her. All right, guys. I'm going to roll out of here. I hope you guys have an amazing day. We're interviewing who on Wednesday?
Jeff Coates.
We're going to be interviewing Jeff Coates on Wednesday, and he's a guy that spent how long in prison? It was like 10, 15 years? He spent 10 or 15 years in prison. He's an absolute success story, became a realtor after prison, but we're going to talk about his journey entering into the prison system, and there was pretty violent situation going on there with a little bit of kidnap, bounding, putting people in the trunk. So we're going to be interviewing him live on Wednesday, and hope you guys all join us for that. Until then, as always, I love every single one of you. People helping people. Community is method, and one day at a time. All right, guys, have a great time. Talk to you soon. Peace.